So I'll be talking solvent-free approach mainly by HME, and main focus will be HPMC acetate succinate. So content of the presentation will be introduction to the Shin-Etsu A code, which is HPMC acetate succinate, along with the different grades what are available for acetate succinate. And considering the HME approach, what are the challenges and what is the role of HPMC AS in HME solid dispersion? Then presentation become more effective if we add some case studies. So that's why we had three case studies with three different drugs, that is nifedipine, itraconazole, and posaconazole. And finally, that all are waiting for the conclusion. That will be the conclusion of this presentation as well as this session. So what is Shin-Etsu A coat or HPMC acetate succinate? HPMC acetate succinate has the similar kind of backbone structure of HPMC. You can say in case of HPMC acetate succinate, you have additional acetyl and succinyl group beside the methoxy or hydroxypropoxy group which is available in HPMC. So in case of HPMC, if you add an acetyl and succinyl group, it become HPMC acetate succinate. Or if on HPMC you add phthalate group, it become HPMC phthalate. So HPMC is having a glass transition temperature around 165 degrees Celsius, and HPMC acetate succinate is having 120 degrees Celsius, whereas HPMC phthalate is having glass transition about 145 degrees Celsius. In this slide, I'll be talking only about the glass transition temperature. When we'll go in subsequent slide, I'll also talk about the other factor which need to consider. So what are the grades available for Shin-Etsu A code? Altogether, I can say there are 9 different grades available for HPMC acetate succinate. They are differ either in the substitution percentage of acetyl and succinyl, or they are differ in the particle size. So based on the particle size, they are divided in 3 types: F type, MP type, and G type. F type means a finer grade with a medium particle size around 5 micron, and MP type is a medium particle size of around 70 to 300 micron, and G is the granular grade with a mean particle size around 500 to 1000 micron. So these different 3 particle sizes targeting different applications. Suppose if you are performing like a aqueous coating, besides solid dispersion, HPMCs can also be used for the aqueous coating. So if you are performing a aqueous coating, generally we recommend to go for the finer grade. If you are performing a organic coating or solvent-based solid dispersion, then we recommend to go for a granular grade. But if you're performing a HME, then generally our recommendation is a medium particles. So medium particle size is introduced by Shin-Etsu, focusing mainly the HME application. These are the 3 substitution different type of grades based on the particle size. Then we'll discuss about the substitution type. As you can see on the weight percentage, here it is mentioned AS, L, M and H type. So where they are mainly differ? They are mainly differ based on the substitution level of acetyl and succinyl group. Because these are the functional group, acetyl and succinyl are the functional group in HPMC acetate succinate. By varying the concentration of acetyl and succinyl, we are varying the pH dependency. So generally ASL type of HPMC acetate succinate start dissolve above pH 5.5, ASM start dissolve above pH 6, and ASH start dissolve above pH 6.5. So if we have a product, suppose I say I'm using ASLG. So in that case, what I want to say, I'm using HPMC acetate succinate, which can dissolve above pH 5.5 and which have a particle size around 500 to 1000 micron. So this is how the nomenclature is defined. Next, please. This all about the grades what are available. Now next move to the solid dispersion by HME, challenges and role of HPMCAS. See, already seen this slide. Maybe I guess you all are from NIPER team. You won't be confused with between the physical mixture and solid dispersion. So generally, if you're talking about a drug, if drug is having a crystalline stage, which is very stable stage, but it is having low solubility, when you are converting that crystalline stage into amorphous form, generally solubility increase. But at the same time, as we all know, that crystalline amorphous stage is not a stable, it is an unstable form. So there is always a possibility of recrystallization. So you need a proper approach to have a stable amorphous form by using a proper polymer and by using a proper approach of solid dispersion. So coming to the melt extrusion process, I guess you must have taken some trial or you must have seen at some event what is the HME or hot melt process. Generally, you take a mixture of drug along with some carrier or you can say the polymer. It passes through the twin screw with varying the temperature zones basically. So while passing through the twin screw, the polymer and drug, either one of them or both of them may get melted. Then it undergo a mixing and finally you get a homogeneous discharge. So in the screw, you have different kind of elements. Generally, I'm not a machine manufacturer. Maybe machine manufacturer can explain you a better way. So you have a conveying element you generally use for the conveying the your drug polymer mixture from one zone to another zone. Also, you have a mixing element which are differ in the design. So these two screw are co-rotating screw which generate also some kind of shear on the polymer and also on the drug. So you are applying shear as well as you are applying the temperature to drug and polymer to finally get a solid dispersion. What extrusion is coming out, then you again allow it to cool. And under the downstreaming, if you have the pelletizer connected to the your machine, you can generally pelletize the product to get the final particle. As you're well aware, the advantage of melt extrusion that you're not using any solvent, no organic solvent, no water, completely solvent-free process, no specific or special drying step is involved in this case. And because of it is advantage like non-aqueous process, it is getting more popularity. And it is getting also popularity for continuous processing. So it is not like people are using HME only for the solid dispersion. They are also using this machine for continuous processing like granulation. Twin screw granulation is also getting popularity among the scientists. There are various downstream possible. What extrude you are getting, you can directly either convert into the pellets, then pellets can be crushed into the powder form. You can also get us directly a kind of film from the extrudes, or you can directly fill the granules into the sachet, or you compress the extrude to fine particles and compress into a tablet. So now we'll talk about the properties and challenges in HME. It can be broadly classified into the four parts, that is powder property, HME property, dissolution property, and downstream property. So today I will be discussing mainly the top three points, that is powder property, HME, and dissolution. Downstream I can say more or less related to the machine. So it is not much related to the polymer. So we won't be discussing much on the downstreaming. We'll be discussing first on the powder property. That is uniform mixture with the API and high flowability. I think picture is quite clear to all of you. as I explained, we have three different particle size grade for HPMC acetate succinate. The first picture show the F grade, which is having a particle size around mean particle size around 5 micron. It is very finer grade, but you can say it doesn't have any flowability at all. The powder is stick into the bottle itself. There is no flowability. The G grade at the extreme right side, you can see with the mean particle size around 500 to 1000 micron. Flowability is very good, but particle size is also very big. So sometimes if your API itself doesn't have such bigger particle size, there is a possibility of segregation. In the middle, you can see the MP grade. It is also having a good flowability, and you can say a reasonable particle size around 70 to 300 micron. So you will get a suitable flowability, and particle segregation chances will be very less with this kind of particle size range. Now we talk about the powder properties. Shinichi Eckert, we had done one experiment basically. We have taken one single screw powder feeder with a 55 diameter, and we keep the screw RPM at around 10. In the powder feeder, we kept taken a mixture of Eckert blend with vitamin C. So we have kept the polymer to drug ratio around 3:1. And what we had checked for the API content after feeding, basically. So based on the API content, you can analyze that if we are using F grade, the standard deviation is much higher. And same case with the G grade, standard deviation for API content is again going higher. Whereas if you are using the medium particle rate, either you go for a lower feed rate or you can maintain the same feed rate, your API content remain the same. So your powder flowability is good, and you can get the uniform drug to polymer content from the powder feeder using our MP grade. And again, focusing on the particle size or particle flowability property, we have done one more additional experiment into this. In this case, what we have done, we have mixed nifedipine along with Eckert, and we have tried M type with three different particle size, that is Mg, Mp, and Mf. And we mixed in the V-shaped rotating mixer, and then sample was picked up at different points. Again, API content was checked by UV spectroscopy. So if you consider the red and the yellow bars in the graph, either at API content 40% or API content 10%, your deviation value percentage is quite high, which is much more with the finer grade. With the granular grade, it is slightly less. But if you're considering the medium particle size, the AMP can mix uniformly compared to Mg and Mf due to the desirable powder properties. So it has good flowability, it has good mixing property, which is the best suitable for if you're going for a HME approach. Now, after finishing the powder property, let's discuss something about the HME property, that is extrudability, chemical stability, and miscibility to the API. So what, as I mentioned in earlier initial slide, if you see that we have HPMC phthalate, also pH dependent polymer. And in our previous slide, we have shown that some study with HPMC phthalate by spray drying. So it can be used in solid dispersion. It has TG somewhere around close to 150, but still we are promoting HPMC acetate succinate only for the solid dispersion. Things to be considered that if you're performing any HME approach by using some polymer, generally you target the melt viscosity within the range of around 1000 to 10,000. If your melt viscosity goes above 10,000, then there is a possibility that during the process, very high torque will be generated. And that you can see also with the HPMC phthalate, you are generally getting the melt viscosity above 10,000. It goes up to 15,000 or above, even at temperature of around 180 to 190. So it is not very suitable for HME approach if you want to use HPMC phthalate as alone. Whereas another case of HPMC acetate succinate, if you consider, it has the melt viscosity vary starting from around 1000, or it can go even below 1000 if you run at 160 or 170 degrees Celsius. But generally people run equipment based on the what is the TG of the drug or melting point of the drug. Somewhere they can target a range of process altogether around 120 to 140 or 150 up to some extent is still acceptable for HPMC acetate succinate. So when you are running a polymer on HME, first thing you should understand what is the operating window you are having. Because generally what happens, scientists stand in front of machine and he take a mixture of drug and polymer. He start with the temperature, suppose say 120. He keep all the temperature zone, melting zone, everything 120. Process running, but your die block. So your process stop running. What you do, you stop the process. Again, 120 is not running. You try for 140. 140 not running. You try for 160. 140 still not running, you try for 200. Yeah, now, but 200 is running. But in the end, you see that extrude what you are coming out, it is not a clear extrude, maybe blackish or brownish extrude, whether that is acceptable. So, depending on the polymer, there is a operating window you have to decide, because beyond that temperature, it is the polymer get decomposed. If you consider HPMC acetate succinate, as I mentioned, glass transition temperature around 115 or 120, but decomposition temperature is around 200 degrees Celsius. So you have to run the HME below 200 and ideally above 115 to get a proper extrude. Similar way, if you consider a PVP based polymer, it has a wider operating window where your glass transition temperature is around 100 and decomposition is around 230 degrees Celsius. For HPMC, you can clearly see the glass transition temperature is higher side, 155, and decomposition is 210. As I mentioned, we have to also consider the point of melt viscosity. Most of time it has a very high melt viscosity. So among the listed polymer, cellulose polymer, HPMC has shows the wider operation range among all cellulose derivatives. So generally, the glass transition temperature about the polymer or melting point of the drug, you will come to know before starting the experiment. But while you are running the process on the HME, there is also, as I mentioned, you are applying a kind of shear to the polymer. and that shear will also, up to some extent, affect the polymer property. And this is the affecting the polymer stability. As you can see, the first row, we have run the plain polymer in this case on a Hake Minilab equipment. Before running HME, the viscosity of ASMF was around 2.76, LOD around 1.3, methoxy, hydroxy, propoxy, acetyl, succinyl content, you can clearly see. Main focus should be given on the free acid. Free acid before running on HME is around 0.03 of succinic and 0.04 of acetic. Total free acid around 0.07. What we have done, we have run the HME at three different temperature range, 160, 180 and 200. And at each temperature range, then we have run the process at three different RPM. So we were correlating two factors. One is the temperature and second is the high shear. As you can see, if you are applying high temperature and high shear, last row, so 200 temperature and 300 is the RPM, your free succinic acid increase 0.03 to 1.13. So there is a clear-cut cleavage of succinyl group. Generally, as per USP limit, your free acid should be less than 1% in most of the cases. On the other hand, suppose if you try your extrude may not be coming out properly, you try to run at 300 RPM, still there is a possibility of cleavage of succinyl group. So both temperature as well as shear plays the crucial role related to the stability of the polymer. Point to be remembered, this is the study what we are showing to you is the of the plain polymer. Once you are combining along with a drug, your result may vary. That you need to understand while you are running the actual experiment at your site. And this cleavage of succinyl group can also be seen by looking at the image of the extrudes. Down you can see as your cleavage of succinyl group is increasing, your extrude become more and more dark yellow or close to the brown color. So that was all about the HME properties, which are very important. Now we come to the third major factor, is about the dissolution. So dissolution profile of solid dispersion. In this case, we have taken nifedipine. We have lots of nifedipine at our site. So you can see lots of our experiment contain nifedipine as the model drug. So in this case, what we had done, drug to polymer around 1:6 proportion, and we have evaluated two different polymer as a carrier, and plain polymer. A plain drug also, yellow line directly indicate the API, which has very poor solubility. By using PVP based, your solubility was increased, but it was not possible to maintain the supersaturation. After some time, your solubility dropped down. Whereas with ACOAT ASMG solid dispersion, you could maintain the supersaturation after getting the solubility enhancement. Then, as we mentioned, that amorphous form is not very stable in the nature generally. So when you're converting a crystalline drug to amorphous form, it should remain in the stable form. If your drug again recrystallize, what solubility you have increased initially, it may drop down. This can also be seen in current example where we have taken Grisofluin as the model drug. Drug to polymer proportion in this case was around 1:6, and we had run at around temperature for around 170 degrees Celsius. So on the left hand side, aqueous solid dispersion, you can clearly see the solubility was improved, better than physical mixture, much better than physical mixture, and it maintained during the stability of 2 weeks at 4075 in open bottles. Whereas if you compare against PVP based solid dispersion, solubility up to some extent was increased initially, which can also be seen by the blue line. But again, after 1 week time itself, most of the drug reconverted into the crystalline form, which happened like a recrystallization. So that was all about the some challenges and role of HPMCAS in solid dispersion. Now we start with the case study. So first will be our favorite drug molecule nifedipine, and impact of grades and parameter we'll be discussing in that case study. What we have done, we have selected nifedipine and ACOT ASMF grade at different proportion level, starting from 1:1, 1:2, 1:, up to 1:6. We have gone up to 1:6. Also, we have taken one more additional proportion where we have increased the drug part up to 2 and reduced the polymer 1. So it is almost 1:0.5, you can say. And we again compare with some PVP based polymer and plain drug. You can see the plain drug is very much crystalline in nature. Solubility was not improved. Whereas when we run the extrude at around, get the extrude after running HME at 170 degrees Celsius, the solubility was very much improved. Over and above, you can say 1:3, 1:4, 1:5, 1:6. All this proportion gives the better result and it maintains the supersaturation. Whereas using PVP based 1:6, initially solubility was increased, but after some time it dropped down. So this is all study conducted check for at pH 6.8 for all the extrudes. And since we are checking for the solubility enhancement, drug dissolution, we were also checking whether drug was completely converted into amorphous form or it is still remain in the crystalline form. As you can see, red line indicate the complete amorphous HPMC acetate succinate, and black nifedipine completely crystalline. If we are considering our HPMC acetate succinate proportion as we are keeps on increasing, your crystalline peak keeps on reducing. So you are converting into complete amorphous form by the solid dispersion. Whereas with PVPVA 1:2 proportion, you still can see some crystalline peak. That's why your drug was not completely converted into amorphous form. First thing, solubility was not improved, as you see the initial previous slide also. So we had checked for the what is the effects of the different proportion of the carrier. Now, second important parameter for HME is the temperature. In nifedipine with a
Hello.
Hello. Mr. Nitin.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay.
I lost my connection, I think, so I was out of meeting. Now you can hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we run the process at 4 different temperatures. That is starting from 140 up to 170. And you can see as the temperature increases, the solubility also improves and you get a better solid dispersion. At 160 to 170, you get the solid dispersion. Also, you're maintaining the supersaturation, which is not the case with 140 or 150. It can be also correlated with the XRD pattern, what you see on the left hand side. And melt extruded at 170 degree, and in this case what study we had done, nifedipine, again the same drug, but we have evaluated 3 different grades of ACOD. One is which dissolve at pH 5.5, that is ASL. One which dissolve at pH 6, that is ASM, and one which dissolve at pH 6.5 and above, that is ASH. As you can see, using ACOD ASL type, you increase the solubility initially, but it slightly dropped down after, you can say, 1 hour. Whereas using ASH, your initial solubility was not much improved, but afterwards it maintained the good supersaturation. So it depends on the drug molecule, also which polymer, and among the same polymer, which grade you are selecting, what temperature range you are running the equipment. Based on that, you are getting the final results. So next case study, that is itraconazole and impact of surfactant in extrusion. This is based on the study which was conducted by some, based on the external article what we got by some international university. So what they were claiming that they have run HPMC AS plain as well as along with some surfactant, and along with HPMC AS and surfactant, they have also introduced itraconazole as a model drug. Since HPMC AS is having high viscosity, melt viscosity, what they mentioning here, as they introduce some surfactant into it at around 10%, your viscosity of the complex reduce. Even at 150 degrees Celsius, you can say you can get a viscosity around, you can say, 10 raised to 5 power CPS, basically, pascals. But your desired viscosity was around 10,000 pascals. So, which you could achieve if they were targeting like mixture of HPMC AS with itraconazole along with some surfactant. And they have checked for the drug surfactant mixture. Basically, what the drug and surfactant, that is itraconazole and polyoxamer combination they have taken, they check for the dissolution study. As you can see, if they consider plain polymer HPMCAS 80% and 20% itraconazole, you get less drug release in pH 1, basically acid, and for 1 hour, then 5 hours in pH 6.8, your solubility was improved. Although it maintained the supersaturation, but your still drug release percentage was almost around 80%, you can say. On the other hand, if they have gone for a second combination, like they have reduced the polymer concentration to 70%, keeping the drug concentration same 20%, and remaining 10% they have used different kind of surfactant. The solubility is also improved, and other factor they need to understand that it is also improving the solubility at initial 1 hour in acidic media. So you are getting something like that because generally our polymer are pH dependent polymer. If you are targeting a pH dependent solubility enhancement, generally you go for a plain polymer, that is enteric polymer. But if you get targeting slightly higher drug release also in the acidic media, then you can target a combination of some surfactant along with the polymer with your drug. This was just the case study. Then again, they also done the study of the particle size. As the particle size reduces, how it is impacting basically on your drug release. That is also the case. In case of your acetate succinate and itraconazole, your particle size was slightly higher side, very much higher side, you can say. Whereas with itraconazole and other combinations of surfactant, your particle size was slightly lower side, which you can also correlate with the dissolution mode. So in this case, what they have measured, as I mentioned, that during the HME process, sometime if you are getting the torque at much higher side, it is difficult to run the equipment itself, because at 70, 80 or 90% torque, you get sometime above 90% itself torque, you get some alarm in the HME machine, difficult to run. So you generally target to run your machine at lowest torque, around 30 to 40% or 40 to 60% is still manageable. In this case, what they have observed, if you taken the plain polymer on the HME, a torque is coming at around 80 to 90%. But when they mixed HPMC AS along with itraconazole, a torque coming down drastically at around 160 degrees Celsius, it coming around 60% torque. So up to some extent, you can say maybe drug is also giving some kind of plasticizing effect to the polymer in this case. Additionally, along with the drug, if you are adding some surfactant, your torque drastically reduced from 80 to 90, which was initially drastically reduced, coming closing to around 25 to 30%. So at lower torque, it is very easy to operate. You can run the process of combination of HPMCAs, itraconazole and poloxamide even at low temperature around 130 up to 150 degrees Celsius. And convert the drug into complete amorphous form, which was also shown in the previous slide. They have also done the study and stability study. The solid dispersion form was very much stable. No recrystallization was observed in that case. It was all about the external study, what we have got some external article. Now moving next to the posaconazole, case study of the posaconazole. So posaconazole, I can say it is one of the first success story of use of HPMC acetate succinate by HME approach, because as Arun mentioned in his first presentation on solid dispersion, that HPMC AS have lots of success stories. But initially, scientists started to do the research by mainly solvent-based approach, which is quite easy to handle, like top spray granulation or spray drum granulation. But time goes, then the Noxafil posaconazole-based approach gives the first success story to us. As you can see, it has the pH-dependent solubility. At lower pH, it has the good solubility, but pH 4 and above, almost less than 0.04 mg per ml. That is the solubility of the drug. So already suspension was there in the market. Now, then innovator think of coming to the tablet form with improved viability and improved solubility of the drug. This is the information based on the patent, which is already openly available. So as you can read the patent, as per the patent, they have mentioned, you can see the plain drug is completely crystalline in nature, posaconazole. And when they have used HPMC ASL along with API in 1:3 proportion, and when they run the process on the live stress HME, it's a German make, I guess again, live stress, at running at around 120 to 140 degrees Celsius, your complete crystalline drug converted into amorphous form. As per patent, they have given the example of two grades of HPMC-AS, that is HPMC-AS-L type and AS-M type. And after getting the extrude, they have milled the extrude to get a final particle size within the range of around 75 to 300 microns. Then they check for the dose relevant dissolution in acidic media with drug to polymer proportion, that is 1 part of drug and 3 part of polymer. API is limitedly dissolved in pH 1, whereas at pH 6.4, you get very good result with both, with AS-M type in 3:1 or AS-L type 3:1. And this is again as per the patent, what information has been shared by in the patent. So API supersaturated at pH 6.4 and API solubility, which was around 0.1 milligram per ml, is almost 100 times it is increased. So just to conclude the things, what I can say basically, HPMC-AS can be the very suitable polymer for solubility enhancement in this case. And it